When the ruins of your life are still scattered, this is what a narcissist secretly wants from you. Psychologists often say that narcissists aren't just addicted to attention, they're addicted to chaos. Welcome back to the channel, where we uncover the hidden psychological games behind narcissistic abuse and explore the deeper emotional mechanisms that keep victims trapped. Today, we step into the mind of the narcissist and examine why they seem to thrive in chaos, how they manufacture it, manipulate it, and then watch others drown in it while they float above the wreckage with chilling calm. Experts in personality psychology, such as Dr. Ramani Durvasula and Dr. Eleanor Greenberg, explain that chaos is more than a byproduct of narcissistic behavior. It's their emotional oxygen. In the narcissist's world, stillness feels like death because silence forces them to confront their own emptiness. So they create movement, arguments, drama, conflict, not to destroy for destruction's sake, but to feel alive. Chaos becomes their mirror, reflecting power where they secretly feel worthless. Imagine this. You're in a peaceful moment, maybe winding down after a long day, and out of nowhere, the narcissist stirs something up. Perhaps it's a petty argument about something that happened weeks ago, or a trivial mistake you barely remember. Suddenly, the room that was once calm feels suffocating. As psychologist Dr. Carol McBride notes, this is the narcissist's favorite tactic, emotional ambush. The argument doesn't have to make sense. Its purpose is to unbalance you, to draw energy from your distress. They create the storm, then step into its eye, still, powerful, untouched, while you spiral around them, trying to find your footing. Victims of narcissistic abuse often describe this dynamic as emotional whiplash. You can't predict what will set them off. It could be a missed text, a casual disagreement, or even your happiness, especially your happiness. Narcissists interpret your calm, joy, or success as a threat. According to psychologist Dr. Craig Malkin, this happens because their fragile self-esteem is entirely dependent on external validation. When your stability contrasts with their chaos, it exposes their emotional fragility. So they strike, tearing down your peace to restore their illusion of control. And here's the cruel paradox. Once they've unleashed chaos, they expect you to fix it. Psychologists call this projective identification. They transfer their internal mess into you, then punish you for feeling it. You apologize for things you didn't do. You clean up the emotional debris they created. And while you sit there shaking, they're already calm again, maybe even asleep. The chaos wasn't an accident, it was a feeding ritual. Every tear, every anxious apology, becomes emotional fuel that reaffirms their dominance. One story I heard from a survivor captures this perfectly. She grew up in a home where chaos wasn't the exception. It was the rhythm of daily life. Her father, a textbook malignant narcissist, could turn any celebration into carnage. Birthdays, graduations, holidays, all became opportunities for emotional warfare. If the spotlight shifted from him, it triggered what psychologists call a narcissistic injury, a perceived slight that ignites fury. He'd smash objects, shout until walls shook, and then, when everyone else was in tears, he'd calmly sit down to eat, satisfied. Dr. Heinz Kohut's research explains this chilling calm. The narcissist's rage is not random but restorative. Destroying others' peace temporarily repairs their crumbling self-image. Her mother's chaos was quieter but no less lethal. She didn't yell. She withdrew. She'd sulk, sigh heavily, or refuse eye contact, casting a shadow over every room. Psychologists call this covert narcissistic manipulation, the use of emotional withdrawal to dominate the emotional climate. On birthdays, when attention wasn't on her, she'd retreat into a performative sadness. Suddenly, everyone felt guilty for being happy. As trauma therapist Shannon Thomas notes, this is emotional vampirism at its most insidious. The narcissist drains joy not by explosion, but by absorption. Over time, living with such chaos rewires your nervous system. You start to expect volatility. You become hypervigilant, constantly scanning for signs of danger, flinching at the smallest shifts in tone. Psychologists describe this as trauma bonding, a survival response where the brain mistakes emotional unpredictability for love. You find yourself craving peace but addicted to the adrenaline of chaos, the same way the narcissist is addicted to creating it. But here's the truth that every survivor needs to hear. You don't owe anyone the job of cleaning up their emotional wreckage. The chaos they create is not your fault. It's their coping mechanism for an internal emptiness you didn't cause and can't cure. Healing begins the moment you stop dancing to their rhythm. Dr. Judith Herman, a pioneer in trauma recovery, emphasizes the importance of restoring control through boundaries, therapy, and self-compassion. Learning to tolerate peace again is a radical act of defiance after years of being trained to live in fear. When you refuse to engage in their drama, when you walk away instead of reacting, you're not being cold, you're reclaiming your sanity. The narcissist may call it selfishness. Psychologists call it rebuilding self-worth. And perhaps the most empowering insight of all, narcissists thrive in chaos because it hides their truth. The moment you choose calm, the illusion shatters. Without your emotional energy to fuel their storm, they're left alone with the one thing they fear most: silence. I remember the constant tension, that quiet fear humming under the surface of every day. I was always on edge, trying to read her moods, to decode the silence before it turned into something darker. Psychologists describe this as hypervigilance, a trauma response where the body is perpetually alert for emotional danger. For children or partners of narcissists, this becomes second nature, not because they crave chaos, but because chaos has taught them it's safer to anticipate pain than to be surprised by it. You learn to walk on emotional glass, trying to fix storms you didn't create. And if, by some miracle, you dared to relax or find a moment of peace, the narcissist would punish you with the one weapon sharper than words: silence. That silence wasn't just quiet, it was calculated absence. Experts like Dr. Ramani Durvasula explain that the silent treatment is a form of emotional control, a way for narcissists to reassert dominance without overt aggression. It forces the victim into a psychological panic, triggering guilt and self-blame. You begin to wonder what you did wrong when, in reality, your only crime was daring to feel joy that wasn't about them. To the narcissist, your happiness feels like betrayal. They crave not just attention but emotional dependence. If they're miserable, everyone else must be too, because in their distorted world, empathy isn't shared, it's weaponized. Over time, this pattern reshaped everything, even joy itself. Holidays became emotional battlegrounds. Birthdays were no longer celebrations but traps. Christmas turned into complaints. Anniversaries became reminders of suffering. Psychologists often note that narcissists cannot tolerate others' joy because it shifts focus away from them. Dr. Eleanor Greenberg describes this as narcissistic deprivation. The narcissist feels emotionally starved when attention isn't centered on them, so they spoil joy to reclaim control, ensuring that no one experiences light without first passing through their shadow. For victims, this slowly drains the soul. The brain begins to associate happiness with tension, and eventually, the simplest pleasures feel dangerous. What makes this cycle so maddening is that chaos doesn't need a reason. You can tiptoe, say all the right things, do everything perfectly, and still, somehow, the explosion comes. This unpredictability is part of the narcissist's power structure. Psychologists call it intermittent reinforcement, a core component of trauma bonding. By mixing affection with cruelty, the narcissist keeps you hooked, always trying to earn back peace that should have been yours to begin with. One minute, they're calm. The next, they're tearing you apart. And when they flip the script, they do it with precision through Darvo: deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. It's the narcissist's psychological sleight of hand. They start the argument, deny responsibility, and then claim you are the aggressor. It's emotional gaslighting on steroids, designed to make you question not just your memory, but your sanity. Dr. Jennifer Freyd, who coined the term Darvo, explains that this defense mechanism helps abusers protect their fragile egos while further destabilizing their victims. It's not just about winning an argument, it's about preserving an identity. To admit fault would mean confronting shame, and for the narcissist, shame is intolerable. Their entire personality is built to avoid it. So they twist reality, turning accountability into attack and empathy into guilt. You end up apologizing just to restore peace, not realizing that every apology is another brick in your emotional cage. Then come the subtle jabs, the constructive criticisms that cut deeper than open insults. You're not good at communicating. Your cooking isn't what it used to be. You give me those looks that make me feel terrible. Each comment is designed to chip away at your self-worth while maintaining plausible deniability. Psychologists call this covert devaluation. Small acts of emotional sabotage meant to erode confidence without overt cruelty. As Dr. Craig Malkin explains, this keeps the narcissist in control by ensuring you stay off balance, forever seeking their approval. It's manipulation dressed as concern, a toxic dance that leaves you questioning whether you're the problem. But here's the psychological truth that survivors often struggle to grasp. You cannot fix what you didn't break. Narcissists don't want resolution because resolution would end the drama. And drama is their lifeblood. They feed on emotional reactions. It validates their existence. According to trauma specialist Dr. Judith Orloff, narcissists operate in an endless feedback loop of chaos and control. Every argument, every tear, every desperate attempt to make peace reinforces their sense of power. The more you try to fix them, the more they're reminded of their dominance over your emotions. It's not that your compassion is misplaced, it's that they weaponize it. And so, the only true escape isn't through fixing. It's through withdrawing from the game entirely. Dr. Christine Lewis de Canonville calls this strategic detachment, the conscious choice to disengage from the narcissist's emotional bait. It's not about revenge or coldness. It's about reclaiming energy. The narcissist will accuse you of being heartless, selfish, ungrateful. But that's just projection, the very traits they can't face in themselves. Real healing begins when you stop responding, when you start grounding yourself in your own emotional truth instead of theirs. For many survivors, this journey feels impossible at first. You've been conditioned to equate silence with danger and calm with guilt. But with time, therapy, and support, your nervous system learns a new rhythm, one where peace doesn't feel like neglect, but freedom. As trauma expert Dr. Bessel van der Kolk reminds us, the body keeps the score. Recovery means teaching your body that safety doesn't have to come after chaos. It can simply exist. So if you've lived through this kind of emotional warfare, know this: their chaos isn't yours to fix. Their storms aren't yours to calm. Your only real duty is to yourself, to step away, heal, and choose peace over the noise. Because in the end, the most radical act of defiance against a narcissist's control is living a life that no longer reacts to them.